Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the BFNL Footy Show, proudly brought to you by McDonald's Ballarat and Ballarat Toyota. Having a look at all of this week's round-out games in the Red Onion Creative Ballarat Football Netball League. My name's Shaun Kelly, joining you in the host chair this week. Joining me is BFNL Operations Manager Aaron Nunn. Nunny, welcome, mate.
Thanks, Shawnee.
Great to have Liam not here today.
Yeah, he's having a rest, so...
He is. He's on the interchange bench for a week. We decided just disciplinary action. He was no good last week, so he's on the bench, off your trot. And of course, here in a bit of a difference around this week in the Saxon House function room, setting up for tonight's junior interleague presentation night for our junior sides, going around tomorrow at Sebastopol in the Sovereign Wealth Solutions Goldfields Trophy, Nunny.
Yeah, playing Bendigo juniors again. Do that every year, so looking forward to the clashes tomorrow, and hopefully we can get the shield back, which we lost last year.
Yeah, we did lose that last year, didn't we? It was no good.
No, so hopefully we can get it back tomorrow.
Let's hope so. Let's look at senior footy, though, because pretty big round coming up of senior footy this weekend. Starting with the game out at Alfred and Oval tomorrow, Ballarat taking on Sebastopol. Two winless sides enter. One will emerge with their first win for the year.
Yeah, look, it's a big clash for both clubs. I know Ballarat's obviously keen to get on the winners list, and so is Sebastopol. Sebastopol's shown a lot of improvement this year. I'm sure they'll take it up to Ballarat, but obviously Ballarat, very young team, looking to get their first win on the board. I think Ballarat will just get over the line simply because they'll have the advantage playing at home, but wouldn't be surprised if Sebastopol cause an upset.
Not having Roel Marshall in the side also doesn't help Sebastopol. He's probably got the number one ruckman mantle in the BFL at the moment. If he played tomorrow, he'd come up against Daniel Darquist, who's as green as you'll get as ruckman, improving every week, but obviously as green as you'll find. But him being at the Roosters, I reckon, probably changes the complexion of the game a little bit. Adam Sewell not there for Ballarat also makes a bit of a difference. He leaves a hole, but you just feel that Ballarat will be more consistent across the ground.
Yeah, Rowan probably would have dominated, you would imagine, obviously being probably the only standout ruckman in the game, obviously giving his midfielders first use, but without him there, I think it evens the playing field a little bit in the midfield, and I think Ballarat's probably just got a bit more polish with their midfielders, so I think they should get the job done, but again, I'm expecting Sebastopol, a very improved Sebastopol, to take it right up to them.
A very interesting game. Speaking of interesting games, this one up at Mattingley Park is going to be an absolute bottler tomorrow. Bacchus Marsh taking on Lake Wendouree. It was interesting. I spoke to somebody this morning, and we were talking about Bacchus Marsh and how well they've gone recently, and they said, yeah, but who have Bacchus Marsh beaten? It's been sides that are all below them at the moment, and I countered to that with the fact that they've taken on East Point and Sunbury in the last 2 weeks, teams that are kind of in that same area that we think would be in the mix for 5th and 6th position, and they've absolutely pantsed them. Tomorrow's a chance for Bacchus Marsh to stand up and really take the league by notice.
Yeah, and they, like you said, they haven't just beaten those sides; they've absolutely flogged them. So this is their next big test. They've failed a couple of times in the teams that they've played above them, and look, Lake Wendouree is susceptible to dropping these games. We saw at the start of the year they were off their guard against Sunbury, and they got beaten at Clark Oval a couple of weeks ago at the start of the season. So yeah, they're definitely vulnerable against a side that's playing really good football in Bacchus Marsh, and Lake Wendouree got some pretty big outs too.
They have indeed. Matty Tominello, Lucas Anderson and Tim Madden all out of the side. There's a lot of height going out of that lineup.
Huge outs, and obviously they'll have to draw in their reserves to obviously step up and hopefully take up the mantle to a very much improves the Bacchus Marsh side. So a big cracking game, this one. Peter
Shepherd against Isaac Kirby, a matchup almost worth paying the admission fee for.
Yeah, well, Pete obviously kicked 10 goals last week. A fantastic effort by him. I think Benny Peters snagged 6 as well. So,
second week in a row, I think, of 6 for Benny too.
So he's in ripping form at the moment. Playing some really good footy, and I expect it to be a cracker this one.
Can you pick him?
I have to go on Lake Wendouree on form, just simply because they knocked off Redan a couple of weeks ago. But again, flip of the coin.
It's a toss of the coin game, I reckon. I'm going with the Lakers just on exposed form, but there's nothing wrong with Bacchus Marsh's exposed form. I think we know that Lake Wendouree's got it done against those top sides already, whereas that jury is still a little bit out about Bacchus Marsh.
Yeah.
Tell you what, if they win this game tomorrow, though, everything changes.
I'd like to see Scotty Carey get a kick too. He doesn't have one in the
Be a change. I know he had 1 kick last week, so he's on the goal kickers list, but
very ordinary.
Wouldn't mind lifting flat, get around it tomorrow. East Point taking on Melton. This is going to be a pretty good game as well. It's almost the winner of this game will sit solely in 6th place at the end of the day. And Melton disappointing last week against Darley. East Point not quite as disappointing, but still down in their normal game against Lake Wendouree. So pretty big game for both teams.
Three sides, I reckon, that are fighting out for that sixth position on the ladder. It's these two sides, obviously East Point, Melton, and Sunbury, obviously fall into that bracket as well. So this is, we talk about 8-point games in the world of footy, and I think this is generally one of those 8-point games. Whoever wins is going to get that little mini break on the opposition, and obviously sit in the box seat to jag that sixth position. So really important game. I think East Point will just get over the line. Based on Melton, they've got a couple of big outs, and obviously Mulligan and Murphy not playing this weekend.
How big is Brad Murphy's absence? How big is that for Melton? Because he was good in the first half of the year.
Huge, because he's such a good player and a really good leader out on the ground, and he's like a general. He directs his teammates all over the place, and he's just going to be a huge miss for them. And look, I hope that the reports of him never playing footy again are not true. I hope he's able to get his Achilles right and get back out on the park, because he's had such a wonderful career, and he's not over the hill by any stretch of the imagination just yet. So.
No, far from it. East Point for mine as well. Again, just feel that they've probably got the options up forward that'll kick them goals. Pretty steady backline as well. Not having Mulligan there, probably Jake Dunn breathes a sigh of relief, because he's been stood on a couple of weeks ago. He gave away a double goal last week. He hasn't had a good run in the last couple of weeks.
I'm sure the chief will be right. He'll be fine.
He'll probably have 203 centimetre Cameron McCallum sidle up next to him, and he'll just go, "What have I done wrong?"
Yeah, but I mean, East Point, they don't have the key tools up forward this week, because I think they're hoping on Jordan Staley being released from the VFL side. But from all reports, he may get the call up again for the Roosters, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But if Staley gets into that side, I think that definitely gives them the edge. If not, they're going to be
Brad
short.
Whittaker's not there. Mitchell Wheatley's coming back through the seconds.
Exactly. And obviously they haven't had Hayden Walters all year either. So, so a lot of key players out of this East Point side. If they get themselves fully fit, they're going to scare some teams this year. But, it's a danger game this week. They should just get the job done.
Yeah, I think at home they'll just get over the line. Melton South taking on Darley at Melton South this week at the Rec Reserve. Not a great performance by Melton South last week. They probably missed their three best players, though. Shaun White, Angus Story and Frank Holes are all not in that side. They get White and they get Story back this week. But they also get a Darley side that are in pretty good nick at the moment as well. And that midfield, when you've got Nathan Lyons, Steve Kennedy, Shane Page, Anthony Chu, Andrew Challis, guys like that running through the midfield, there's not too many out there that can match them, especially a Melton South team that's had some injuries this year and they're undemand.
Steve Kennedy's probably one of my favourite players in the competition. He's just so good to watch. He just floats across the ground, and he never wastes the footy. So, they're in red hot form at the moment. Yep. The big test for them, I think, is when we get to the back half of the season and they come up against the Redans, the Lake Wendourees, and obviously the North Ballarat
return match against North City.
So that'll test them. They pushed North Ballarat City at home a couple of weeks ago and fell short by 20 points. But if they get their game really going and they're firing on all cylinders at the end of the year, the Devils could be a chance this season. So, I think they'll definitely get the job done against Melton South, who obviously got one win to their name. They were happy to get over the line against Sebastopol a couple of weeks ago.
They were.
They're always a little bit more dangerous when they're playing at home, but I just think they're a little bit too young this year, a little bit green, and I think the Devils will get the job done.
Yeah, Devils for mine as well. Last game for the weekend, North Ballarat City taking on Sunbury at Eureka Stadium. Sunbury, the one team to inflict defeat on North Ballarat City in the 2014 home and away season. Jack Sheen kicking 10 goals that day, and he was in a bit of form at the moment. He kicked 5 last week in a losing side, but on the flip side of that, he's probably going to have Ryan Hobbs sidle up to him on the weekend, who is probably the informed defender in the competition at the moment.
Hobbsy's, we talk about best players in the league. Hobbsy is probably the number one ranked defender in the competition. And you talk about Jack Sheen, I think he even had a stint on Pete Shepherd last week because he was tearing them apart. But I think again, Sunbury are a very young side, and still getting their their chemistry, trying to mould together and become a pretty good side for the future. And they're just trying to get games into kids at the moment. So they're under no illusions. They know that they're going to be up against it this weekend against North Ballarat City. North Ballarat City, I think they get Jezza Edwards back into their side, their lineup this week. A couple of other important inclusions, which I can't quite...
Sam Bromley Lynch coming back in as well.
Yeah, look, Sammy's obviously a pretty important player to their structure as well. So, they'll be tough to beat, especially at Eureka Stadium. They always play good footy there. And they should get the job done. The
one thing that I reckon will hurt Sunbury in this game is, as you know, with young sides, they tend to lapse for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, a quarter, and you've seen that with Sunbury this year. North Ballarat City played Sebastopol last week. It was only 5 goals in at half time. Yeah. Then Sebastopol had their lapse, And when they did, North City kicked 10 goals, and all of a sudden it was 100 points at three-quarter time. They are the one team you cannot afford to lapse against because they can just take a game away from you in the blink of an eye. Derek Micallef, 3 weeks in a row, has kicked 7 goals. Jason McNamara is the worrying one for other teams for me. He's getting back towards that Henderson medal form from a couple of years ago as well. If he's ripping sides apart in the midfield, it makes life so much easier for the rest of their midfield as well.
Funny you mentioned that time on period. I was chatting with Rick Hoyt at the start of the week, and he mentioned that in the games against Redan and Bacchus Marsh over the last couple of weeks, it's been that junk time where they've really leaked their goals and just had a few lapses in concentration. So, if they can concentrate for a full 30 minutes every single quarter and obviously try and minimise the damage when the boys are running around and tired in those last 5 or 10 minutes, then they might be able to get close. But I can't see them repeating last year's effort and upsetting North Ballarat City this week.
Yeah, North City for mine as well. Nunny, thanks for joining us once again, mate. Great to see we had some action. Rather than having Dodge here, we actually got a couple of blokes know what they're talking about, and we can get some good insight into the games out there.
I didn't throw in a comment like it's a credit to the coaching staff or anything.
No, nothing like that, which is his kind of go-to line when he gets a bit nervous. So thank you for joining us as well here on the BFNL Footy Show. Of course, proudly brought to you by McDonald's Ballarat and Ballarat Toyota. We'll be back again next Friday with more happenings from around the Ballarat Footy League.
The kick flat.